Ladies, gentlemen, this is Pernell Bobby, your astro therapist, okay, helping you to improve how you respond to suffering, all while leveraging astrology. And as you know, sex is a part of life, okay? And how many of us in our sexual relationships, okay, have suffered in some capacity? You probably really resonate with this in some way when we talk today about Capricorn Risings, okay? Understand that Capricorn Risings in this series that I'm doing is also going to talk about the Cancer Descendant, all right? So here's what you need to know about Capricorn Rising and if you have a 7th house Cancer for your Descendant. All right, so notice that this is not gonna just be about your sex life, but your dating life as well. And when it comes to Capricorn Risings, it's important to note that Cancer, all right, probably the most emotional, and when I say emotional, I mean psychic sign in Zodiac, all right? So let's break this down. Sex for you is very different than work for you, okay? Capricorn Risings, we all know your whole freaking life, you work so diligently, you're so reserved, okay? It's all about climbing the status. It's all about climbing the reputation ladder and just building your character, building who you think I am is, okay? So like first house is I am, right? So you consider yourself as somebody who is, and this is important when it comes to dating, somebody who is really just outstanding. like let's be honest, like you have no real problem tooting your own horn, okay? But you're not gonna do that just to brag, okay? You're gonna do it because you earned what you may be bragging about, all right? So like if it's a certain accomplishment, a certain status in your work life, a certain status in your job, especially a certain growth that you've had for family. And this is why I had to bring this up, because this is what makes you so attractive at the same time. Like you, Capricorn Risings are so focused, okay, logical, rational. They seem like they always got their shit together, even if they don't inside, okay? Because there's plenty of times that inside you just don't, okay? When it comes to dating in your sex life, it's like there is a very deep innate insecurity, all right, that exists. And I think this is personal. I think personally why one of those things exists is what you're here to learn from your Cancer Descendant, okay? More of your shadow side. That Cancer in the 7th house, this is what you're here to learn about your Cancer Descendant. That emotions have its place. And you're also gonna, in your lifetime, have found partners or at least reflections or projections of people who you may really thought in certain instances, because their emotions may have made them feel or seem, or they may have made them seem weak or insecure. But understand that the emotions of a Cancer, like I said in the beginning, are actually a part of their psychic ability. It's actually a part of their connection to their ancestors, and it's a part of how they nurture and take care of the family. And it's also what you will find yourself attracted to, because your day-to-day is so rational, your day-to-day is so methodical. It's so like pushing forward, growing the reputation, more likely than not, so that you can have a stable earth, okay, Capricorn, earthly foundation for your future family to come. Now, the reason why this also becomes so important for people to understand about your dating and your sex life is because not everybody's going to be able to get into your sphere of energy, all right? And so many people, especially let's say people who they're gonna almost feel like you may outwardly be too dry, you may outwardly be too cut, even though they're still feeling like magnetized towards that, because especially today and age, like let's say if you're a male, okay, it's like that you may carry that stoic mentality, okay? Like, look, like this just has to get done, period. Whatever I'm feeling emotionally right now, it does not take priority. And so you're gonna find yourself really attracted to partners who might actually prioritize their emotional world. They might prioritize that more feminine energy, which is really ironic, right? Because Capricorn is a feminine energy. So whether you're male or female, Capricorn itself is a feminine energy. However, it's almost like it had to grow up from the bricks. All right. So childhood would have been a little bit more potentially chaotic. You might have had a certain stability that was not provided, where you had to go off and fend for yourself, and you keep building and building and building. It's a cardinal energy, Capricorn Ascendants, you're a cardinal energy. So you keep pushing forward to build material success, material wealth, material, to have your materials reflect also your reputation. These things are important. So you're gonna need somebody who really agrees with that part of you. Now, when it comes to actually getting beyond that dry sense of humor that you may have that can literally crack an entire room up, that was just unexpected because they just weren't expecting from you. What draws people to you, your magnetism, is your ability to basically, like, if you're a male, to wear a suit, okay, to wear that suit and tie. People love that stuff. When you put a suit and tie on, you have these tall, broad shoulders. Okay, Capricorn represents the back and the knees, so it's like you may really have a very positive posture. Okay, your posture might be really upright, and just strong. Okay. And if it's not, then it's also probably reflecting that your foundations are not strong if your back is not. All right. But beyond that, when it comes to your magnetism, it's the fact that you always seem cool, calm, reserved, and collected. Okay. You feel connected. People can feel that what you're doing and why you're doing it is for a bigger purpose, for let's say a collective purpose, more for humanity, not just humanity, but also your family. And that's where it's important to remember that why you're building. It's important to remember who you're doing, what you're doing for when it comes to dating, when it comes to your sex life. Because one is going to be able to repel people who don't have family or traditional interest in mind. All right. You may not really be like the one to be. It all depends on your actual, mind you, this is your rising sign. So if you have a lot of fire energy and you have a lot of wind energy, you might be a little more promiscuous in certain sense. I would say fire more so. Okay. But if you have a lot of extra earthly energy, extra watery energy in your chart, you got to look at the comparisons. I would primarily look at Mars for you, which is your sex drive. So if you have a Mars in Capricorn, this is definitely going to be something you're going to love to hear next, or shy and not really want to comment on it. And if you have a Saturn, you got to look at what zodiac sign is in your Saturn, because Saturn is your ruler. Okay. And Mars is where you're exalted. So Mars being your sex drive in astrology, Mars being your aggression, how you take out, you got to look at where that placement is going to play out, because it'll show you, mind you, you're rising, you're ascending to be the Capricorn. So it's like you have some steps to take as you step into that Capricorn role. It depends on where your other placements are. But I say this to say this, because you work so hard for the family, because you are so concerned with building stability, because you may actually negate the beauty of knowing when and how and who to be emotionally vulnerable with, which is not simple for you. Okay, you often find this through the care and nurturing of your partners. These are the people that are magnetized towards you, and these are people you should be careful about how you shadow box them, okay, and push them away. All right, because ultimately it's probably saying that there's a certain amount of emotional honesty that you're not accepting, that you need from your partners, from your love, and from yourself. So when all that work stuff comes off, mind you, this is what I said earlier, Capricorn Risings, Capricorn Ascendants, it is a feminine energy. I can easily see Capricorn Risings wanting to be dominated in bed. Now, with that being said, I don't imagine it's going to be a full-on take me away, okay? There are going to be those moments, but you're going to almost want to play back and forth, because power, control is major for you. So you're probably likely going to want to also be dominating your partner in a sense. I can easily see you in the work world, in the professional life, in your public social image. This may never come out. Like no one ever, you're just in control at all times. Even when you're not in control, you may give the appearance that you are. And this is part of what draws people in. This is what part of your sex appeal. This is part of your literally your sexual outer layer. But when it comes to you finding that partner, now it's an earth sign. So it's slow. It can be slow to take in that person. All right. So I don't think you're necessarily the most promiscuous person you ain't out there, because you're too focused. You're too methodical on your goals, on your success, on your career, on how you want to show up on a professional stage. All right. This is a part of your obsession when it comes to power. But when somebody can prove to you that they're worthy, I really believe that when people prove to you that they're worthy, which may take some time. It may take multiple dates. I don't imagine it's gonna be like you're gonna be with the wife or the husband that was the one night stand. I don't know that. I don't even know if the one night stand thing is your thing. To be honest, the run-ins that I've had with Capricorn, it's like to get beyond that work mind of theirs, to realize that there's more things in life than just growing your status, is very difficult. Now, when you do get beyond that layer, all right, again, it depends on the other sign, and it depends on if you have an alcohol influence within you, okay? Dropping and lowering your guards, that alcohol influence will really release a lot of the control aspect, okay? This is for all my earth signs, Virgo, Taurus, all right? I've seen it, like, it's almost like, yeah, y'all so much more ready for the physical pleasures. It's an earth sign, right? Like cardinal energy, Capricorn cardinal energy, it's still an earth sign. So it's like those physical pleasures, okay, those earthly, worldly pleasures are something that you really do truly enjoy, and you really do love a sensual love. Now, if people get beyond that work layer, I could easily see, one, you're gonna like to also be on top. This is the mountain goat climbing the mountain. It's like, it can still give that sense of authority, okay, over your man or over your woman. You're still gonna love to be on top. You're gonna wanna still be in control. However, as the relationship grows, you're gonna find, I would imagine, yourself letting go of the image of you're still even in control in bed, and realize that you wanna let loose. You don't wanna have to always at 3000%, 100% of the time, be in control. You already have to do that in your day-to-day outwardly life when people meet you outside of your home, when people are interacting with you and you're growing, not just yourself as a Capricorn rising sign, but yourself for the legacy, yourself for the family to come, yourself to maintain or even likely create your own and your new traditions, okay? Because like I said earlier, your home life in earlier stages may have been very, very rough. So it's like a lot of this drive to cardinal energy, Capricorn, cardinal rising, Capricorn, cardinal ascendant energy, rise to the top. You want to rebuild that family. This is probably the most important piece. So people that don't get along with that, person don't get along with that, it's very much, and you're very observant, right? Like you clearly know the intentions of other people. You can see through, all right? I do believe that people don't give Capricorn enough credit for how perceptive they are. But understand, like, you're at the top of the mountain, okay? So you may find yourself wanting to really be on top, but you could also find yourself wanting to be potentially dominated. Like you might want your lady or you might want your man to sit there and just take you the fuck away, to take all your worries away, to just sensually please you. You're gonna, Capricorn runs the knees as well. You're gonna want back massages. You're gonna want your knees to be rubbed potentially with some essential oils and some, you know what I'm saying? Like you're gonna want that extra treatment. So anybody who's dating a person, or dating a Capricorn rising, or some of a Capricorn Mars, something like that, or even a lot of Capricorn placement, rub their back, okay? Because they carry the world on their shoulders. Even when they're not supposed to, even when they do it longer than they should, they do carry the world on their shoulders, and they feel like they have the ability to do that. So rub their shoulders down, okay? Take the time to be sensual. Take the time to set the scene, all right? Especially in the home. 7th house, Cancer is home in the Descendant. So it's like, set that stuff up for them, and you might be surprised, but give them a knee rub. Like they feel like they're getting holding the world. The knees are ran by Capricorn in the zodiac. So it's like, you should definitely make sure your knees are strengthened. You should definitely make sure your posture is nice and upright. But beyond that, what's the most important, I think, for this sign is to accept emotional honesty, emotional vulnerability as a very key critical piece. To realize that just because you're partners that you actually are attracted to, whether you integrated this shadow part of yourself or not, because outwardly you always have to play this stoic role, like I'll handle this, I'll take this, I'll regain control, all right, if I ever lost it. That's an if, which ain't likely. And if it was likely, ain't nobody gonna know on the surface, okay? So realize that your partners are often gonna be people that are a little bit more sensitive, okay? They bring that emotionality to the relationship. They bring that feminine energy, which Capricorn sign is a feminine energy, but they bring that feminine, nurturing, chaotic energy that to the relationship that it's important for you to embrace. My Capricorn Risings, also my Mars and Capricorns, it's important to embrace that you really enjoy that. It's important to embrace that, you know, the intuition of that other feminine counterpart, okay, whoever, because Cancer Descendant is also a feminine energy. It's important to embrace that Not everything should be solved by logic, and that you have access, okay? Because your descendant is in Cancer. You have access to psychic foresight. You have access to your ancestors, okay? Your partner likely is the one that's going to help you realize how much access to your ancestors you have. And it's going to likely happen as you were growing, you know, pushing forward the legacy of the family, of the foundation, as you were recreating the traditions that you feel fit best for you and for your family. Probably a little bit different than what it was in your childhood, but still some connections to the roots. Like, you know, don't forget that part. Like, it's still some connections to the root. You still care about that tremendously. So I'm not saying like negate it, but saying that these things are really important. Understand that you're an earth sign. Okay, so don't be fooled out there with the Capricorns like they're not freakaleaks. Mars, the sex drive, all right, the planet that runs our sex drive, our sexual aggression, is exalted, aka the strongest in Capricorn. So yes, at work, these motherfuckers are pushing. They don't ever stop. It's like, do you ever get tired? And they be like, I don't get tired. But they do. And they need that recharge at home. They need that recharge with their partner. They need to feel like they could just let go of the weight of the world. And oftentimes that only really happens, I find, in their sexual endeavors. Not that they're quick and promiscuous to be jumping on anybody at any time. I don't really fully believe that. Okay, you gotta check the other placements. However, when they feel real safe, okay, there's a whole thing about your Capricorn descendant that you're here to learn. Capricorn descendant, when you feel safe, you push forward. So the question always is, do I feel safe? If you don't feel safe, then you don't push forward in your partnerships, okay? So recognize that even as a partner that's dating an ascendant Capricorn, that's dating a Capricorn rising, they need to feel safe before they really push forward and before they really show their true identity, okay? First house, rising sign, ascendant sign, before they show their true identity, before they show their sexuality and who they really are, they need to feel safe. Once they feel safe, they're likely to start doing all kinds of otherworldly things, right? Like, because it's a collective sign. It's in the last 4 zodiac. These are the God signs. Capricorn is a god. So treat it like a god because it believes that it's a god, even if it doesn't verbally say that. Give it those back rubs, give it those knee rubs, and accept that emotional vulnerability is really critical. Accept that emotional honesty is an absolute must. Never, ever betray a Capricorn, okay? I know people say this a lot with Scorpios. I'm a Scorpio rising. It's like, that's absolutely true because we will fuck you up in some way. However, you never really want to do this with a Cap because a Capricorn is like, yo, when the door's closed, the door's slammed and it's cold. Mind you, like, this is why they need this emotionality from their partners in the first place, because that emotion in them ain't really all that, right? Like, it ain't really like, it ain't the strong suit, okay? They okay with being cold. They okay with being detached. So don't get it twisted. You betray them, then you're done. And you basically start off with a half a shot. You don't even start off with 1 chance. You start off with half a shot. And you got to earn your way, okay? Because they climbed the mountain. They earned their way. So it's like, this is why they have no problem really bragging about certain accomplishments, which is what draws people in. They have no problem bragging that in. It draws people in. But you got to be careful when you're dating because we live in a superficial society. So all that bragging, all that money you got that you're throwing out there, which you don't necessarily be like, look, change, but it's how you carry yourself. People know that you got the cake. They know you got the chicken. They know you got the money. People know. And it may be how you dress. It may be your posture. Again, like I said, it may be, you know, just this reserved, like, what is this person thinking? You know, people don't really feel you, like they don't really know you. And so it's important to allow yourself to open up in stages, but be mindful of, let's say, the vampires, okay, the material vampires, I'm gonna call it, the reputation vampires who know that by being on your arm, they're gonna rise the mountain and they're gonna rise that mountain off your success. You gotta be careful with this as more like a warning sign for when you attract people. But ultimately, you know, most people are afraid to approach you because they that outside sternness. So they drawn, but just be willing to open up, all right? And realize that when you do, give that person a little time, and when they finally crack that thing, when they open up like a flower, they're gonna be one of the most freakiest people. Again, it's exalted in Mars. They're gonna be one of the most nasty they're gonna do all types of things that are just otherworldly. And this is Pernell Bobby asking you to like and subscribe this. Check my services down below. whenever you watch this. I'm running workshops twice a month on the new moons and the full moons. Okay, it's always donation based. I like to leave it there. If you want an astrology or natal reading with me, you want to do a compatibility test and actually with you and your partner, obviously go down there, book that, that's there. But for all the updates, my email list is the most important. Okay, so thank you guys. I want to say appreciate you again for subscribing. This is Pernell Bobby, your astro therapist, helping you to improve how you respond to suffering. Okay, all while leveraging astrology. Love you. I'll see you soon.